Catherine, second by Mr. Walsh. Mrs. Walker, you want to take personnel?
I'd like to present F1.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Do we have any questions? Call the question.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Levy?
Yes.
Mrs. Norian? Yes. Mrs. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols?
Yes, I'll move the reading.
All right, well, the policy committee met the first time today, and we are offering G1, the first reading of the policy, following policies. Phys ed and health, remedial instruction, gifted and talented, home instruction for review.
All right, I need Mr. Bollier, our packet. They're all there, right?
It's not in the packet.
They're not?
They
The
were.
first read is imaginary, so just think about it. Just think
I
about it, okay?
was looking and I didn't know if I missed it.
These are the policies, you've read them, thank you very
And
much.
we met yesterday.
Okay, not today.
Yesterday, I'm sorry.
Monday.
Monday.
Mr. Griffin, that's why you're no longer chair.
That's true. Thank you.
I've just been meeting, I forgot which one I was in, so.
So Dr. Ansel will have an email to everybody's before the notification.
Thank you.
Public relations, Mr. Griffin.
That's some really exciting news for you guys. We reviewed multiple versions of the mission statement and narrowed it down to one beautiful combined version that will be presented, I think, probably as the first read or whatever at the next meeting. And you guys will all have a chance to comment. I know that Dorothy is chomping at the bit too, so you'll get to see it soon. The newsletter is going out. It'll hit homes next week. And also, coffee with the superintendent is being planned. It's going to be either late March or April. Probably the subject will be budgets, but we will be getting you more details on that soon. And that is it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hold on a second. The mission statement, could we see that before?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a first read, or we can email it out or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
like maybe in the packet or something, just so
Certainly.
that when we're sitting here, it's not the first thing.
Yeah.
And then I was just gonna suggest for the coffee.
Yeah.
Which is a lovely one, yeah.
It's not mine, by the way. It was stolen by someone else, so I don't want to claim it.
I don't think there needs to be a subject.
Yeah, just coffee with the
Because
superintendent.
I think people,
People want to come in.
you know, people want to be heard, and it could be any topic. So I think it's.
All right.
We talked a little bit about that at the PR meeting. And Dr. Ansel, did you just want to share a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, it's not as if the topic is limited. People are welcome to ask anything they want, and certainly not going to not answer questions on anything. I just, in my past experience doing this kind of thing, if you provide a focus, it sometimes helps people to formulate ideas or questions, rather than just being completely random. But like I said, I'm certainly not going to limit conversation to just one topic. I'd be happy to talk about it.
Guess what I'm saying, is if the Riverdale superintendent invited me and said the topic is budgets, I would not go. And if I could go on any topic I wanted to, boy, would I have a few.
I think
That's all I'm saying, we might inadvertently this week.
we haven't set the date yet, but my recommendation at this point would be like, let's start with one. Let's try a topic first and see what happens. If it's not effective, we can open it up from there.
Well, you could advertise this, call the superintendent, we discuss the budget, but you come with questions on anything. That's what we do.
Perfect.
Are you going to do a morning one, like where you have to drop off on a night one maybe?
Right now, the time has not been determined, but I think that is a good recommendation. We'll take it under advice.
All right, we'll skip tri-district, open to the public. Okay, any old or new business? I got old business. Mr. Walsh?
I want to thank the administration for sending me the park results. And let me start off by saying that this was a goal, which we, in my estimation, we failed. again, this is the second time that we failed it. And the result was broken down by borough and schools. And the best we did, or we didn't do well, but 15 out of 21 in the boroughs. So that means that 6 boroughs, we were better in 6 boroughs. 29 out of 38 in the schools, that means that we were on the bottom again. And we were on the bottom in just about everything, yeah. 3rd grade, 4th grade. The numbers were the same. I'll hand this in, if we can do it one way, but the 6th grade was surprising because our school was 66, and we were, there was only 23 schools, and we were only better than 9 of those schools. And the boroughs, there were 21 boroughs, and we were only better than 8 of those boroughs. We never talked about boroughs, we only talked about high district schools. That's what that was part of the goal, and that we wanted to be at least 10% better each year we had the goal.
So, I don't even remember our goal of this year, but we don't even know if we made it or not. This is from the year before,
Yes.
so we would have to look to see what our goal was, because we never know until the following year, but, so we would have to compare it to the year before, but I like to put this into perspective, like I tell everybody. So first, we're in the United States, which is a good thing, and we're in New Jersey, which is like number 2 in the country for education, then we're in Bergen County. So like when we're comparing, like we have to look at what we're comparing. If we're, let's say we're 15 out of 21, well, what's the difference between us and the top? It could be, a few little points. We have to
20
just,
points.
we have to look and see, we have to analyze it a little bit better. I think we have to just take it into consideration and see what that actually means.
The problem is that we've been saying that for, you pick a number, but
20.
the last 2 goals that we've had.
I guess we'd have to look to see how these were the year before though, because we don't know like how we did with the goal or not. We don't know.
I would like to reiterate what you were saying, is that, yes, I agree, Mr. Walsh, that, seeing us at the bottom, you want us to move up, but the variance in between these schools at this level that we're talking about is very minute. I haven't had time to go through all of it, but I was just like looking at like, say, our 3rd grade math, and the average mean score for all the schools was like, I don't know, 77.2, and we were hitting at 77, or 772 or whatever. Like we were right there at where it should be, and the very top score is only 2% higher than us. So, the variance between the top and the bottom on these I districts and where we're at is very small. I'm very proud of where we're going. I think we need to dig in and see where the biggest areas of improvement are. I think you're looking at the numbers is great. I think we all should look at the numbers deeper, but overall, I think we're heading in the right direction.
Well, you brought up the 3rd grade, and the top score was 91.1. And we were at 74, so that's more than 2%. So all of these scores, all of the grades are like that. Some are even higher at 91.1. We did score, in the 5th grade, I think we probably did the best. I think that we should have some sort of a program for the 2nd grades this year, going into 3rd grade next year. And we should have some sort of a program for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade this year.
we doing it again this year, after school?
There, are you asking me?
I guess I'm asking
So there are programs that we're working on. We have a test prep piece that is actually part of the curriculum. The PARC consortium actually provides practice tests, for instance, so our students have the opportunity to do those. So we are looking at making sure that they're well prepared.
May I jump in here? We just spent this evening talking about social and emotional learning goals and anxiety in children. And the last thing I want to say is test prep in second grade. I think if teachers are teaching and children are showing up prepared, I'm really against a rigorous test prep program. You're testing them to see where they're at. And if we put more pressure, yes, do I want to see us at the top of the I district? Of course I do. But I say this every time. We're talking about kids. We're not talking about numbers. We're talking about children and human beings. And I have had children who go to bed stressed because they're having a park test the next day, or they're crying, or they're upset. And I think we have to be very, very careful how we approach this. What are we doing, to make sure that everybody's learning and performing the best that they can? But
First thing I want to say.
not drill and kill, absolutely not.
First thing I want to say is, I did not say test prep. I said a program for the second graders going into the third grades. And the test is only done a couple of days out of the week.
They start preparing months before.
Well, no, you're saying take the test. My child is going to take the test. That's done only a couple of days out of the year, so. They should be learning this all year long.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to.
It should be just in a few days to get familiar with the format, how to do it on the computer, but I think we have to be careful.
Thank you. I have to say, I've been very focused on the PARC results even before it came on the board. But in the last couple of weeks, I would say, first of all, being here last night and seeing how many parents showed up, talking about social emotional learning, how many parents showed up for the anxiety workshop, and how many for their kindergarten through sixth grader, talking about that. And then, so we really do have to take that it is a test and that our school is so much more than those test results. If we also take into consideration the students that we saw here this evening, and if a test, and I will admit to being a horrible test taker myself, but we see that they're performing. We see how well they performed across the world or the country in math in this particular instance. So while we might not necessarily see the scores that we ideally would like to see, we are seeing our children, our students performing and outperforming other students, similarly situated other students. So while I agree with what you're saying, Mr. Walsh, in terms of making sure that they're ready and everything like that, I think we can't just look at a number.
Well, I don't think we're going to have a problem with the 10 children who showed up tonight. But I'm talking about the 750, the other 750 students.
My kids were never stressed about taking the test, so I said, don't worry. It's not about you, it's a test of your teacher, so don't even worry about it. And I'll tell you something else. This is really funny. We had a prior board member years ago, and his kid got in his head that he did well on the test, to get with the tag. So when they get the results back, he was like in the bottom, like a smart child, bottom. And they analyzed the results, and they said he purposely had to mark wrong answers. When they talked to me, he said, yeah, I don't want to go tag. This is years ago. So that's pretty good. They're smart. He knew not to answer the right question, but he didn't want to go to tag.
And talked about that it's not them that we're testing. That's actually one of the strategies. It's totally true, and that's one of the strategies that was discussed last night when
Oh, it was?
not at the amongst some of the parents were saying that that was the strategy they were telling their students.
No, I don't worry, it's Mrs. Pisa who gets to get tested, I'm not worried about her. Look, we're definitely gonna dive into it and look at it again this year. Don't think we're not looking at it, but we just have to take it, in consideration with everything, but we're definitely gonna be looking at it.
John, PSI, they're doing great. We just got a wonderful report today, so they, not PSI, Title I. That's great, showing great improvement.
And I think we need to also remember, we're talking about the park test, that's one test, and that's hopefully not the only thing we use to evaluate our students and their progress. So,
Any other old or new business? All right, let's go into a quick closed session. So, motion, 39, do I have a second?
Second.
We're going in for personnel session, no action will be taken, and we will be dismissing from downstairs.
Thanks for the presentation, that was awesome.
okay.